Well, good morning. Pastor Greg here, Faith Lutheran Church, Harvey, North Dakota, coming to you with my midweek message, midweek check-in. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. Always glad to have you whenever you watch this, and I'm certainly glad for those of you who do. Today is not Wednesday, it is Thursday, and it's August 18th. I'm a day behind because I took yesterday off because of the funeral, Helen Weinman's funeral on Monday. Which is my normal day off. I decided to go ahead and sneak away on Wednesday and do some things that needed to be done. So I'm coming to you on Thursday. I want to just first of all thank everyone who helps with funerals. As always, my job is minimalized in the whole aspect of things by funeral directors that are good at what they do, and they make sure everything's happening, and I can focus on the family and the service. Don't need to worry about meals. That's all prepared for by the ladies. Thanks for that meal on Monday. Special shout out to Roger Skifton. He comes and he sets tables up and takes them down and puts chairs out. And we sometimes forget to thank people like that, and so we're thankful that he does that on the side. So, and none of this I have to worry about, which is just a wonderful affirmation of this congregation. And when it comes together, when it's time to come together to help, they certainly do that. So that's a big load off of this pastor's day when that happens. Quick congratulations to the Tiptons and the baptism of Turner on Sunday morning. And also, it wasn't publicized, but the baptism of Dean Welts on Sunday. It was nice to lead worship at the long-term care on Sunday. I was there and had one of the larger groups we've had really since COVID started, and so it was good to see. While it wasn't huge numbers, it was certainly better than usual. So I was glad to be able to do that on Sunday as well. So it's been a hectic week, and that's all right. I guess what's ramping up here, of course, is our Wednesday evening Bible school, which is always looking for help. If you can provide a meal, if you can provide and clean up for the meal, that's even better. If you can be a substitute teacher, or if you want to just tag along, we have classes for everyone from age 4 to senior high. So do join us. We will be starting September 7th, and that's a registration evening. And so there will be a meal. We serve a meal at 6. We do a short worship at 6:30, and then classes go for about an hour. So do join us if you have children, if you've got grandchildren, or if you know of a family that's looking for a church home, possibly, or at least something to do on a Wednesday night. Let them know. It's you don't have to be there every Wednesday and whatever. You just need to show up. And again, if you're willing to help a little bit, we would be greatly appreciated in any way that works. So that's really the whole 9 yards of what's going forward. Don't have much else to say about that, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So today, I want to take a little look at our Hebrews text for Sunday, Hebrews 12, 18 through 29. You can certainly stop and take a look at those texts and then come back, or you can just walk with me with it. And I'm really focusing more on near the end of that. So specifically verse 28. And 28 reads this way. Therefore, so he's wrapping up all of the stuff that he's talking about before this to prepare us for hearing this particular part, the writer of Hebrews. Therefore, let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, and thus let us offer to God acceptable worship with reverence and with awe, for our God is a consuming fire. So that first part, therefore let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken. It's a solid kingdom. The Lord's kingdom is a rock. It's a strong foundation. And this kingdom has been given to us, and we've been walking through the Luke texts where Jesus says the Father wants to give you the kingdom, for it's the Father's goodwill to give you the kingdom, however that's written. And so this kingdom that we're talking about here is God's kingdom in everlasting life. And so we should be grateful for receiving the kingdom that cannot be shaken. And then he says, and thus let us offer to God acceptable worship. And I always pause when I see phrases like this. Let us offer to God acceptable worship. And I always want to try and define worship and what that means and what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Is it the way we worship? Is it how we worship? We always think that we're doing it the right way when it comes to worship. Should we have a band? Should we have an organ? Should the preaching be 5 minutes? Should the preaching be 40 minutes? Should we have lots of singing? Should we have incense? There's all of these things that we do in all of these kinds of worships, and I have been to a lot of different ones. Growing up Catholic, of course, we had incense and bells, and lots of pomp and circumstance, and that's worship, and I've been to synagogue, I've been to big box churches. I use the term big box loosely, meaning more of a contemporary, or what some people think contemporary worship is. You sing a bunch of songs, there's a message, you sing a bunch of songs, and off you go. And so that's kind of where it is. And so what's acceptable worship? Which place is doing the acceptable worship? And that's kind of what we have to explore then, isn't it? And I think if we just read on, it tells us what that worship is. The Hebrews writer says, with reverence and awe. So how do you come to worship? How do you come to worship? Do you worship? Do you come to worship? Or why do you come to worship? Do you come to worship and the reason for coming to worship is because that's what we've always done? And that's, a lot of people do that. I've always gone to church on Sunday morning, so that's what I do. Did you come to gaze on the items that you helped buy, and then recognize how great those aspects are? Do you come to worship to hear the band play, and hoping that they'll play your favorite song? It goes on and on and on. And yet here we are told to worship the Lord with reverence and awe. So do you come to worship the Lord? Because that's really what you're called to do. That's what we're called to do. We're called to worship the Lord in awe, and have awe and reverence towards Him. And reverence is kind of a vague word as well. What kind of reverence is it? You can be reverent and still sing loudly. So I don't want to jump on that. It's just when you come to worship, Who and what are you worshiping? Giving acceptable worship is to the Lord and thanking Him for all that He's done. But more than anything, in this particular case, thanking Him for the kingdom that you will receive, uh, because it's unshaken, it's solid, it's a rock solid kingdom. So that's where I'm at. I don't think I'm taking my message that way on Sunday, but I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I'm thinking about more in the Luke text for Sunday, but that's okay. I might change. You just never know. Anyway, enough about that. Prayers for this week. Of course, we're in the start and throes of harvest. So be with our farmers as they harvest. Keep them safe. Watch over them. Prayers for them in that process, and that the yield is good, uh, and the prices stay good as well. All right, take one person today. Look out your window and see one person today, and pray for them. You don't have to know them, but you can still pray for them. Do that. Well, you have a wonderful day. Grace, peace, and blessings to you. And I look forward to seeing you Sunday morning. And as always, as you go on your way and do your things in this world, do take care.